there is a strong comparison that can be made between President Trump and Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
There is, and it doesn't have to do with views.
And it is a favorable one for Mayor Pete because it has to do with where he stands right now in his chances of becoming president, because they are very strikingly similar to Donald Trump's at this same time, 1 year out from the election.
So one of the things that we know is that the odds makers in Vegas have basically they've seen that Buttigieg has essentially the same odds that Trump had this far out from the convention.
Same odds, right?
Same odds, and the same odds this far out from the race. So he's tracking with Trump. Now that may not have anything to do with anything, but what does have a lot to do with a lot is that
Iowa.
Pete Buttigieg, and I felt this all along, Pete Buttigieg winning in Iowa. He is number one. He has passed Biden. He has passed Elizabeth Warren. He is tracking number one in Iowa and really strong in New Hampshire. This is the time to bring Pete Buttigieg on because we've kind of followed him from the beginning, had him on several times. Mayor, welcome to TMZ Live again.
Thank you. Good to be back with you.
And congratulations are in order. You are topping the polls now in Iowa. You, I think, have 22%. You're beating Biden by 3%, Warren by 4%. This must be a great feeling for you.
Certainly a good feeling. Now, it's a long way out. It's just one poll, and it's in one state, but it's very encouraging because it reflects what we've been feeling for some time on the ground. You know, this stage of the presidential campaign is really about the work that you're doing to connect with voters in communities. We're in high school gyms, we're in backyards. I think what it reflects is that the message that we have had for voters is really reaching people. The idea that this isn't only about the critically important task of bringing an end to the Trump presidency. It's about what comes next. It's about what America is going to need that first day that Donald Trump is not president, when our new president is going to have to pick up the pieces, unite the American people, and get very big things done. That message has been resonating, and it's clearly serving us very well in these early states that play such an important role as the voting begins next year.
Mayor, I know you said that you are taking a humble approach to being in the lead now in Iowa, and as you said, it's one state. And the numbers do look good because you're also, we should say, surging in New Hampshire.
You're closing in on Biden in New Hampshire.
And I don't know if you saw the story we put up that your odds of making the presidency are about the same right now as Donald Trump's were a year out. So I guess I would say it isn't just one state, but what are you doing going forward to follow, in this case at least, follow in Donald Trump's footsteps? What places do you feel you need to win? In the sense of a campaign strategy. Right. What places do you feel you need to win?
Other than arriving at the White House, the less I have in common with Donald Trump, the better. But,
we figured.
But one thing we do have in common is a campaign that I think was underestimated when we first got in and is now turning heads and gaining ground. But we're going to do it in a completely different way. We're going to do it through honesty. We're going to do it through a commitment to truth and to bold solutions. And above all, building up a sense of belonging. America's got a crisis of belonging right now that I think is leading to everything from addiction to our messed up politics. And it might sound like a softer thing alongside all of the hard policy we've got to do. But my campaign is about making sure everybody understands where they fit in the future. Now, in terms of the game plan, Iowa and New Hampshire are critical states. We're also campaigning in states like South Carolina and Nevada, which are also early on the calendar, and our first real opportunity as far as the election calendar goes to engage with Black audiences, with Latino and Asian Pacific Islander voters and Native American voters who really make up the diverse electorate that is America today.
Yeah, you mentioned South Carolina because we've been talking about this. You know, I'm sure you've heard there are a couple of senators, African-American senators, who have said that you're going to have issues in the Black community where the fact that you are gay may not sit well with some members of that community. What do you do, especially heading into a place like South Carolina, to address that?
Well, I don't think it's fair. You know, homophobia is real, but I don't think it's fair to talk about it like it's only an issue in the Black community. If anything, many of the most anti-LGBT politicians to come to office recently They didn't get there because of a lot of black voters bringing them into office. So, this is certainly an issue that any LGBTQ candidate has to face dealing with any number of voters. But I also think that I know that we can move past it. And if there's one thing I learned running for re-election as an out candidate here in Indiana while Mike Pence was governor and getting 80% of the vote in the end, it's that people will look past old habits if you give them a good reason to support your campaign.
Well, we're almost out of time, and as a gay person who has encountered homophobia as you have, over the years, a lot of it, Pete, is rooted in religion, and that is a hard thing to overcome, based on policy or just based on likability. It's an issue, right?
It is, and I also think it's an opportunity, and I say this as somebody who is an out gay man and also somebody who is a Christian, and my faith is important to me. And the biggest thing that I take from Scripture, the biggest thing I get out of going to church on Sunday morning is the idea of compassion, the idea of helping those who are around us. And Scripture is full of stories about reaching out to people who are outcasts, who the rules of society at the time tell you aren't supposed to belong, and bringing everybody into a common picture. And I don't think you have to share my particular religious background to feel the importance of that. And I think calling out to people's compassion is the best way to move people forward. Not everyone's going to be able to get there at the same time, but our country is at its best when it moves past any exclusionary habits and prejudices of the past. And at our better moments as a country, we've shown the ability to do that time and time again.
Well, look, for all of our viewers and people watching online, however you feel, in terms of policy and candidates and everything else, what you've done, Mayor, is remarkable. That you have been kind of an outsider, and now you have emerged as the leader in Iowa. That is an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. We're proud of it, but we also know there's a long way to go and a lot of work ahead. So you'll see us campaigning hard every day, seeking to earn those votes and ultimately earn the presidency.
Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it, Mayor.